What's up, everybody? What's up, everybody? Welcome to the show. Obviously, it's been a little while. I was gonna make a couple of YouTube videos. Figured I'm gonna live stream it instead because why not? This is the best part of the show, baby. This is live. This is being able to talk to everybody. This is what it's about. Just to give you guys a quick rundown of what we're going to be covering in today's short little episode here, I have two fellas on the line, and one of them is the head of the Scale Bouncer Association on Facebook, Dustin Girding, and we're going to be talking to him and doing a full wrap-up and kind of a 1 year later. One of the really cool things I got to do was I actually got to help release the Axial Rift last November. So we're a little over a year in terms of what we've learned, what we've done, you know, all the changes that we've seen be made, all the upgrades you need to make. I'm going to talk a little bit about that. I'm going to talk about King of the Hammers, the 4400 class, the 4900 class, and then the 46, because you know, there's some things to talk about. I'm really interested. Also, I want to say too, just while I've got some people sitting here, Trip Nichols over in the Talent Tank said he didn't watch any of it this year. It's really weird. It's a weird feeling to see people who are so influential in an area not enjoy it like they used to. And then after that, we're going to talk about the National Rock Racing Association 2022 season with a special guest coming up with lots of information on Tyrant, if that helps out at all. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to chime in my boys here. Dustin, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
All right. Y'all let me know if you can hear Dustin, if you can't hear Dustin, all that kind of fun stuff. Let's see. I got to pull up all my windows here and make sure everything looks good on this end. Dustin, how's it going, man?
I'm good, man. How about yourself?
Dude, I'm always good. Always super good. I'm not going to mess with this right now, actually, because the worst thing I can do is like pipe the sound of the stream back into the stream. Everybody loves that. So we're just going to skip that. We're just going to hang out. Like I said, I can see you guys chat when you all talk and all that kind of fun stuff. But Dustin, let's talk about the Axial Rift. It's been a year plus 4 months. So we've come up to almost a year and a half.
It's hard to believe.
It's concerning because, you know, I had my son last year, or this year. No, was it last year that the Rift was released? Last November?
I don't even remember.
Man, it's either a year or two now. I'm pretty sure it's been a year. Y'all can correct us. What's up, Chris? What's up, Gary? It's good to see you in here, Gary. So let's talk about it. Let's talk about the Rift. So when I unboxed mine when I got my Rift, before it all went public, before everything, they sent me one probably, I don't know, 2 months ahead of time at most. They normally, I think, send these out a little earlier than what we had originally got them. Myself and Justin Hoback were actually, I think, the earliest two, I know for sure, but definitely not the only two that ended up getting the pre-release versions. Justin, he actually got the kit version in July, and I got the actual first ready to run, first edition, the whole thing, obviously outside of the ones the engineers had. When I ran it, we got someone chimed in and said Milestar on Patagonia's win the Everyman Challenge at KOH 2022. It's funny. Anyways, so when I got my Rift, it was really cool because obviously it's your first rock bouncer. You had the new axles under there. When I ran it, it was good. I have plenty of videos of me out, trying to crawl with the stock system, trying to rock balance with it. I feel like I gave a fairly unbiased review because the truck out of the box I was pretty happy with. Now, come to release, we saw a few different things out of the Rift. Dustin, what would you say was your initial impression before any of the negativity started coming out about it? What was your initial impression of this truck?
I thought it was pretty cool, especially how big it was. Everything being beefier, like driveline wise. The axles were way bigger than anything in, I'd say, this industry so far, because everything to make an AR-60, which was, in a bomber, say, you'd have to spend a lot of money to make those axles that beefy compared to what was in the Rift. And
yeah,
that was really cool to see.
Yeah, so I've actually got a bouncer I'm building right now, and I'm using AR-60s, and it's been so long since I've used them that I forgot, you just have to upgrade literally everything to even, turn a 2.2 with a good steering servo to, turn. You've immediately got to upgrade the axles. The dog bone system that comes stock is just terrible, not even usable. So I agree. I was excited. They sent me demo pictures of, variation 1. My first thought was, holy cow, this thing sits way too high. That was the first thing I thought when I saw it. But I, like you, was maybe it's just part of the, just bigness of the car, the size of the car. It's huge.
For sure.
But, I talked to one of the engineers, and he had mentioned that they'd laid the servo back to get some space between there, all that kind of fun stuff. But after it releases, it has a little bit of a bad reputation because front axles and rear axles, the entire housing, just starts breaking. Did you ever experience this? Because I know you've kind of got a special version of the Rift, but have you seen any of the stock axles break?
I've seen a handful of them break, but the one thing I will say about the Rift is, with the amount of power that it has, you're gonna break parts, right?
Yeah, I would agree with that. I think that's fair.
The misconception that came with this rig was people were treating it like bashers because it had so much power.
Yeah.
And I think it has something to do with, I know there's 2 generations of the axle housings now, which, I'd say to begin with, they weren't the best, but luckily they figured that out and improved upon it. But at the end of the day, if you're going to be jumping an RC vehicle 10 feet in the air and landing on rocks, dirt, trees, you're probably going to break a plastic housing, right?
Yeah, that's true. And I think something too is, if I went back and I looked at my starting release videos before doing this, and I have this tendency to drive a scale vehicle, a bounce. Okay, so a Rift is a scale bouncer, right? And then you have a Traxxas Slash, which is a basher, right? I drive my Rift as if it were a scale bouncer, and again, I think I'm atypical, but I don't shoot my rig 10 feet in the air. That wasn't the point for me. The point for me was scale rock bouncing. Everything is kind of at scale, including how I chose to drive it. Now, obviously, you're gonna shoot this thing 10 feet in the air a couple times for fun, for sure, absolutely. But I think that might be why I didn't break mine right out of the gate. Or I got a good axle, which to me sounds like a less likely story. It sounds like I just drove it the way it might have been designed to drive, if that makes any sense. But ultimately, after they all started breaking, it was just before the Windrock race with the Northern Rock Racing Association. I actually went out and looked at mine because I saw everybody was breaking, flipped mine over. Lo and behold, in the spot where the long tube connects to the axle, like the diff covering area, there was a crack. So
Yep.
I called Randall, let him know, and he said I had planned on racing it in the stock class that weekend at Windrock because I had just started doing my announcing. And Randall basically said, hey, don't race it unless you get this new axle put in. So he shipped me one. It got there like a day before, and with the baby, I just couldn't get it put under the car in time. So I didn't run it, didn't race it. I actually did run it at Windrock, brought it around, was driving it up and down, all that kind of fun stuff, but didn't race it. So I wish I had raced it because, I don't know, but RC stuff will look a little different this year. So I'm going to run through a few of these comments. Chris Taylor says the Ryft platform is awesome. Gary says my front axles lasted over a year. Just swapped them because I wanted metal on metal, like I wanted metal for the metal addictive chassis. Awesome. Jerry says my bouncer, and he listed all of his stuff. Huge power there. Gary says super glue with baking soda is a great temporary fix for cracked plastics. What's up, Shannon? Yep. And then Jerry says my ready to run broke third day front axle on tumble. Electronics were sketchy from day one. Okay, so that is the next thing I was actually going to talk about was the electronics. So if you go to the Racing on the Rocks YouTube channel, you'll see pretty quickly that I ran into this issue with the electronics and the binding and the AVC pretty much right out of the gate. And see, I'm gonna go to view on YouTube here, and I'm not gonna play it or anything. So all that being said was, when I got it, it was already an issue. It was like having problems with the AVC stuff from the get-go, and I had bought a Rock Ray beforehand, so I understood the low C AVC compatibility system, how to turn it down on the dial, all that kind of fun stuff. Like I knew all that stuff, but what I didn't know was how to actually remedy it. And after digging through the manuals and all this other stuff, by the way, this is a video that I have that explains everything I'm about to explain just in a little more depth. But what I did was I went out, changed receivers, kept the same remote, and it fixed my AVC issues because it just deleted it off. And something that people don't know is that even when you turn the dial down all the way, AVC is not off. You actually have to go get a completely different bind plug and go through the whole system if you want to use that receiver and turn the AVC off. It's a little more complicated, but I had this issue multiple times because I actually ended up trying to rebind the controller, and y'all have to bear with me because the only thing I had at the time was the manual, because it was me and like one other guy in the entire country who had it, and I thought that it was a defective issue. I talked to Randall, and he basically was like, this kind of how they work, et cetera, et cetera. So long story short, my fix for that was ordering one of the receivers that comes in the little SCX 10s. They're like cheap throwaway receivers. Just put that in, rebind everything works. AVC no more. Fixed. It's not a good system. Now, I still have a stock electronic system in there, and I would tell you today that after a year of not like solid abuse or anything, but a year of good hard rock bouncing, a little bit of trails, but mostly rock bouncing, my system is kind of pooed out and sad. It's just sad. Like, it doesn't have the same oomph it used to. It kind of loses its bindings still, and maybe not even the bindings, but like the ESC motor, just like sometimes it'll just cut off. So it's time for a new power plant in that system, but I really wanted to keep it stock for the longest time as it could, because it's production car number one. So I was interested. Again, I know, Dustin, you didn't get a chance to run the stock electronics, but everything you've seen sound about right?
Oh, absolutely. With it, so what people may or may not know is that the electronics in the Ryft is a non-censored brushless, which is not intended for crawling necessarily. The censored side of it's more electronic controlled. You have a lot more low speed control compared to a non-censored, which is what the Ryft had, and that's what makes it kind of harder to control and worse low speed.
Yeah, I was really interested to see how many people immediately wanted to turn these things into like hard crawlers. Did that surprise you?
Turn them into what?
Like hard rock crawlers.
I was kind of surprised by it. I mean, there's two different markets out there, you know. There's a lot of people that have no idea what rock bouncing is, and to some people this might have been a crawler, you know. But to turn this rig into a crawler, it would take a little bit of work, but.
And don't worry, guys, on YouTube, I see y'all too. I got people saying I hit a wall in reverse full speed, broke the axle housing, and bent the SSD tube. Dang, he said he couldn't even get out the axle shaft. That's how hard you hit it, buddy. Like, that's impressive. But all that being said, the crawler conversions and the bouncer path lines, they both go the same direction, and it's with electronic upgrades. How about this? I'm just going to tee this one up like a T-ball for you. What were your thoughts on the Servo Saver and the stock servo? What do you think about that whole package?
It's interesting. I mean, obviously the stock servo is not going to be the best thing in the world, but that's what it's meant to do. I mean, there's meant to be upgrades out there for a reason. I don't know. I've never really ran a Servo Saver. I thought it was kind of unique. A lot of people stripped those out, which is another thing people just kept, you know, bashing Axial about, with it being another breaking point. But you have to have a breaking point somewhere, you know.
Boom. You nailed it perfectly, because when I saw it, I knew exactly what they're doing, right? They're building in this layer of protection for people who are going to go hit this thing, because it was capable of, like, you know, 20, 30, I don't know how fast, 20, 25 miles an hour right out of the box. Like, it was pretty fast. You know, you have to build in some variation, because the guy that doesn't understand RCs or this or that just going to yank the trigger for the first time, run it right into his wall, boom, it's broken. Ask me how I know, because I've let my kid do that with every single one of my other RCs, and you know, it's terrible. Like, my kids destroyed more RC parts than I could have ever imagined. But all that being said, I thought it was a good step for a ready to run. And my steering servo, I can only speak for myself because I did get one built by the engineer himself, was good. I ran the stock servo up until, I want to say, early summer of last year. So probably 6, 7, 8 months. And granted, it definitely wasn't responsive. It definitely wasn't those things. But, you know, it worked. It was good. I kept the steering servo saver on there, all that kind of fun stuff. Now, I actually am getting rid of one of my bouncers, and I'm going to be moving some parts around. What servo do you run on your Ryft? Because you've got one. So I've run the Shift before, the Shift S 2.0. Not sponsored by them. Don't, you know, no kickback. It's been great for me. But you have one that you're pretty excited about. So tell me a little bit about that one.
So I've got the great opportunity of being a team driver for 1/10 scale. Mr. Gary is actually in the comments over here.
Holla, Gary.
He's the owner and operator of that. Does a lot of cool stuff with. He introduced the BOCA, which stands for Buy Once, Cry Once. Great motto right there.
Yeah, for sure.
Awesome servo. I've got 3 of them and have never been able to break them or anything. And they come with lifetime warranty on, you know, the gears and everything.
Yeah.
Which is pretty phenomenal. I put them through a lot of abuse. I've ran a bunch of different servos. I've ran a Shift, never had an issue with them. And it's good that there's options out there for people, because a guy like myself, very hard on equipment. And the fact that these servos will take it is amazing.
Yeah, for sure.
So I will say the great thing about a higher end servo is you can get rid of the Servo Saver and get some better steering out of stuff like that.
So I will say this. I'm going to actually try the Buy One Cry Once on my next car, because at the end of this, I'm going to show you the new car I ordered today. Because I ended up, I'm building a crawler, and I just haven't had that gut feeling that I'm happy with what I've got right now. And I went ahead, just bit the bullet, and did something pretty exciting today. So I'm excited to share that with you guys. Okay, so now we've kind of talked about what it was like out of the box, the electronics, all that kind of fun stuff. I'm not really going to run through all of the aftermarket solutions that people use. I will always tell you that an optimal way, once you get like a solid motor, an optimal way of determining, like, fine-tuning the speed is always going to be with your spur gear. If you don't know what a spur gear is, go find a video or a chart. That's how you fine-tune it. And going from like a 12 tooth to a like 20 tooth is a huge difference. Make sure it fits your, what's the other gear? Spur gear and what else?
Pinion gear.
Pinion gear, thank you. Make sure it fits your pinion gear, that they mesh and all that kind of fun stuff. But I have, you can go super fast or you can go super slow. With a solid motor, it really doesn't matter. It really depends on pinion gear. Okay, so let's talk about replacement parts, because the Axial Rift has been flooded by really 3 companies. It's been surprising to me because I'm gonna go ahead and show this Vanquish page. I have seen like nobody run the Vanquish stuff, and I'm not sure. I mean, it's in.
Yep.
I mean, it's in stock. Why are people not running these?
This isn't a kick to Vanquish, but they were super, super late to the party.
100%.
It took them forever to get these released, and I would say, in my opinion, they are probably the nicest housing out there for them. I mean, the finish of them, amazing, but for anybody that bought a Rift in the first 6 months per se that needed an upgrade, went to Vidavon, because they cranked them out.
They did, and everyone has kind of their mixed. There's mixed reviews of not necessarily the products from Vidavon, but the way they went about it, which is fine. I think there was some fake accounts and stuff that blah blah blah. I'm not going to go too far into it, but whatever you say. Vidavon came to the party early. Now, let me say this. The Vidavon front axle, I can't speak for anyone else because I haven't put my hands on it other than Vidavon. That thing is heavy, dude. Like, crazy heavy. And I realize it's not it's not a AR60. It's bigger. It's much bigger, and these are much thicker. But dang, son, this thing heavy. But when you have front and rear in both of them, oh my gosh, dude, it's crazy heavy.
That's just a part of the Rift axles too. I mean, we're talking the internals are so big, it's definitely a crazy thing. So for anybody that doesn't know, my quote-unquote Rift has AR60 axles underneath it. I had a bomber. Yeah, you probably got a picture of it. I have a bomber that I basically turned into a Rift because I like the bouncer look so much more. And so everything is basically bomber besides the Rift cage. And everybody always asks me how I don't break axles, and it's because it's so light. My rig is 7 pounds with a battery in it, and opposed to Mr. Chris Taylor, got a beautiful rock bouncer right there. You can pull one of his up if you want.
Dude, we're gonna go through this because we've got like I said, we got a few things to cover here. So,
but yeah, I'd love to know what his weighs, and Chris is in here. Chris, what does your buggy weigh? Ready? Just curious. I probably don't have anything. Yeah. There you go. Just go.
Ooh, that's a good looking buggy right there. Let me tell you. So this is Dustin's buggy. As you see, it's got AR60s under there from SSD. Nice, snug. The shocks look good. Everything lines up. Everything looks good. I did notice that, if I'm not mistaken, let me triple check myself here, that you had to cut the front section of the frame out to get that servo to sit down. Okay.
Correct.
So that was something that I did, and Chris Taylor says 10.5 pounds. It's pretty. Yep. That's pretty light.
Yep.
So I was like the bleeding edge of trying to figure out how to get this thing to work better. So what I did was I cut out the middle of all this stuff, and yours looks way better is what I'm trying to get at. All that being said, if you're looking for a performance gain, actually, let me get I got my picture is all over your stuff here. Move them to the other side. Okay. If you're looking to gain some performance, cut that whole front section out. Let the up travel come through, because I feel like that's one area where they crazy drop the ball here. It's just with no up travel in the front. But they did that so you can fit a ridiculously sized battery in there. So it's, there's pros and cons to all of it. I know you're not running a 5,000, 3S battery in there. So, there's, like I said, pros and cons. But all that being said, beautiful rig. Yours is a little bit more narrow, correct? Because the 60s?
I have wide hubs on mine. It's probably very similar to what a Rift actually is.
Okay.
I'd love to set it next to one and compare it, but I really never have.
Yeah, as I was saying that, I was looking at the rear, and the rears kick pretty far out there. But outside of the axles, there's now solutions. Also, I had someone in the chat mention that T-Reel, or Treel, however you want to call it. Treel. They offer a solution. I think that, excuse me, I think that's a little bit of a more budget-friendly option. Is that right?
They're about the same price as Vidavon. They're super nice. The
Okay.
good thing about them is you can give them in different colors and they look really nice.
Ooh. I know. I've seen the orange one.
Yeah, Chris Taylor and Shannon, and a bunch of the guys from down the Addictive crew in Tennessee, they run them, and if they can't break them, I'd say not many people can.
Yeah, there's something to be said for
nice.
those wild boys out there. Yeah, there's a picture of an orange one. 140 for the rear. I'm assuming 190 for the front, same as everybody else.
And if anybody's looking for some trail stuff, Mr. Gary over at 1/10 is a dealer for their stuff.
What's the website for him?
1/10 scale.
Awesome. .com.
Yeah.
Holla. There you go, Gary.
Holla.
All right. Last thing I want to talk about the Ryft is the spool situation. So in the axles, and probably the biggest complaint for mostly everyone outside like electronics and the axles was the fact that this thing didn't come spooled. Again, mine was built by the engineer. I didn't really have issues. I did let them know that like my center sections were getting hot and all that kind of fun stuff if I really ran it. And I asked them about like diff fluid, like lifetime, how many times they'd have to, how often I should replace it, blah, 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 all those things. The engineer told me, don't worry about it. You'll never have to replace it. So I have yet to replace mine.
Yep.
All that being said, I have put a locker in the front. I have left the middle undone, and I'll talk about that in just a second. And the rear is undone as well. The rear is a lot more loose than it used to be. Spins like, you look at it wrong and it does the one wheel peel. So it's not, I don't think it's lifetime. It's probably better just to go ahead and do a spool. It's just going to save you a little bit of headache. Does make the car a little bit, depending how you drive, it can make it more predictable or it can make it less predictable. I have found that one of the reasons that the Ryft drives so well is because if you're just all over the throttle, having those open differentials and letting one side spin, when you do have that super thick fluid in there, it can take some of like the big weight setting down and launching off to the side. It can kind of take that out of the equation. Once all four hit the floor, you can keep going straight. The spool, a very lesser of importance to me. Now, what I said about the middle spool there, kind of same idea. The way that I drive, sometimes it's nice for the back end to stop spinning while the front's in the air, and that way I don't backflip over myself. Kind of built-in dummy driver stuff.
Hey, speaking of dummy, you do know you're looking at the wrong spool, right?
Yes. Yes, I do. Axial Vanquish spool Rift. Sorry, everybody. Here you go. How about
little baby axles.
Yeah, I was sitting here and I was like, man, that seems pretty small. There we go. How about that? All right, thanks everybody.
This
Cheers.
looks a lot better.
Cheers. I'm drinking my cup of coffee. So
I was looking at the price. I'm like, they must have really lowered them because I thought they were like $25.
You can't get away with everything, but all in all, Axial Rift. I like it. It's been good for Axial. I think it's been a positive thing. The tires have been my choice of like just generic tires. I think they're cool. I think they're fun. I think they're cool. I wish they had done the Tennessee cut of the SX rather than the Super Swamper. I have only seen this cut on a Super Swamper in like one Instagram picture ever, and I'm thinking that's probably where they got this idea. Not a crazy fan of the cut, but cool.
Yeah, the ones I had cut would look a lot better on there.
They're huge. Agreed. You have the Tennessee straight line, but it's cool. It's something different, and they're huge. I like them. I like them for crawling too. I actually have them on one of my big crawlers, and they, that like sound that like the rubber makes when it's really getting chucked around. Yeah, I like that sound. So these are good for that.
Mr. Shannon Nolan said that he likes the open rear too.
He says he rebuilds every couple of races. Shannon, that's a good idea.
He rebuilds the whole rig. It's fine.
Yeah, dude. I've seen your fleet, dude. It's not what I have and what you have are not comparable. I have a painted version of Walmart, and you are wide open design. Okay, so it's not equal.
Amazing collection.
Yeah, you're setting the bar. I'll say it like that. But for the Ryft, I think it's a great car. The wheels, no complaints. I haven't had any issues. I think I stripped one, no big deal. I was beating the crap out of it. The brakes on here, like the brake pads and rotors, kind of weird because you have to have them unless you go with something aftermarket. It's whatever. I chopped off the gas tank back here, put a little flat piece, and that's pretty much it. I think Hoback Racing makes a really good sway bar for it. Trill makes a good sway bar. Yeah, Hoback
the
Racing.
Hoback one's extremely nice.
Yeah, it's very, very good. So Justin Hoback on Facebook can get you guys hooked up with that. Anything else? Any other thoughts before we move on from the Rift and start talking hammers?
No, I just think it's a cool rig. It's been really good for the sport. I think it's been a lot more entry level friendly for some people.
Yeah, I would agree.
You know, the fact that you can buy one and almost just go race it is really cool.
Well, okay, so before we do that, let's talk about NRRA. This car is legal in the plastic class, but the rules have changed quite a bit to where it's not...
For the better.
For the better, agreed. It's not just this plastic right here. It does not have to be a stock machine. What are the other details on like electronics for their plastic class?
As far as I know, stock class, it's like bring what you brung kind of deal.
Dude, shout out to them. That is a
killer way
awesome. To run it. That's how you should run it.
Obviously, so there's gonna be a tire limit, I guess you should say, but most of it is a 6-inch tire limit, and then power wise, battery wise, as big as you want, as long as it's not like a full blown short course truck. Do has some stuff there, but
yeah, I think they have like a slider rule, like a belly pan rule.
Yeah, you can't have anything more than a 9-inch skid plate, which is huge.
Yeah, that's a big girl. Okay, cool. All right, so what we're gonna do is I'm gonna put a little marker here. That's it for the Rift Talk. Thanks everyone for joining us for the Rift Talk. Now we're gonna talk about King of the Hammers. Now, I have lots to say about hammers this year. Give me your thoughts because it's hammer time on the show.
I'm jealous I wasn't there. Definitely the biggest one they've had, I'd say, looking at the crowd.
Yeah, it's like 100K they were saying. I you know what's so funny is I have seen so many people talk about the hammer lung with all the dust, and it seemed like the dust was horrible.
It's real.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, let us start with yours and mine's favorite class, 4900. I'm just kidding. It's not my favorite either, but it's a cool class for sure. Probably the most educated on the 4900 class. Kyle Chaney comes across with a win again.
Smoked it.
Dude. Kyle Chaney, Hunter Miller, Cody Miller, Paul Wolf. Shout out to freaking Paul Wolf getting shit done. My man.
Yep.
My
awesome.
man, dude. All right. On top of that, and then as always, Dustin Battle Axe Jones. Not sure where he finished, but he's my man. He's my boy. Go Blue. And Cole Clark. Need to give a shout out to Cole Clark. Really unfortunate roll, almost right off the start line. I went back. Cole, I went back and I watched it. I don't think he hit you. What would you say?
That was clean.
It was clean?
It was clean.
It was clean.
Yep.
It was just a little. I'm sorry.
It was aggressive. It was gutsy.
I know how much work you put into it, Cole, and just know that I'm watching you. I'm watching you next year too, man. Tough break. 4900 course. They finished it in just about 4 hours and 30 minutes, if I'm not correct. Please, someone let me know.
Did you catch that between the 4900 and the 48 car that finished first? 4800 car.
Wait, say that again.
So from my understanding, the UTV and the Everyman Challenge are in the exact same course.
Okay. Yeah, that's correct. Yes. Sorry. I thought you were saying a UTV ran in the Everyman Challenge. I was like, I hold the brakes. Don't think so.
I think it's very similar.
I think the course was the same, yes. But okay, so tell me about it.
So Chaney finished in the UTV in like 4 hours and 26 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
And Dan Fresh, that got first place in the Everyman Challenge in a 4800 bomber, was supposed to be the same course, was an hour behind that time, almost to the T, an hour slower.
Not even surprised.
It's pretty wild.
It is insane, but we're going to talk about the UTVs in the 4400 class here in a second, but not insane in my opinion, because Fishgistics just released actually a really cool. I'm going to come back to this debacle of a post, and I'm going to show you this. Hang on, first off, did you see this guy get run over?
That was bad,
dude.
Very unfortunate.
That's not
lucky
good.
To be alive.
That's not good. Sorry, YouTube, if I'm not supposed to show stuff like that.
Very lucky to be alive.
Yeah, I thought Fishgistics just posted something. Maybe it was on their Instagram. Instagram for statistics. It was a comparison of a
It
40
was Heavy Metal Concepts.
heavy metal concepts. Man, you're so smart. Heavy metal concepts. Okay.
UTV versus.
Yes. So this video is a UTV versus a 4400 in the same section, and you can see their post basically says seconds. This is where seconds become minutes, and right here you can see the UTV is already out and on its way and well down the mountain now before that UFO car really can even go anywhere. So all that being said, am I surprised that the UTV smashed the 4800 guys? Not even a little. The UTVs are so stupidly fast, and the thing that is most shocking is, I don't know if you guys watched it or saw it, but Phil Blurton broke an RCV axle in the race, and then they put a stock axle in it. Like, that's how good these Can-Am parts are, is that a replacement for an RCV is a stock one. It's mind-boggling to me. And if I'm not mistaken, I think Kyle Chaney, if he had just put stock axles in and maybe there was one other piece, maybe a clutch or something like that, he would have qualified for the stock class. So very interesting stuff coming out from those guys. Very, very just cool. But 4900 class, the actual race itself, I watched it. I was actually sick that day, not feeling too well. Watched the whole thing. I thought it was great. I don't think there were really any moments that were like mind-boggling to me. What do you think? Do you remember anything like substantial?
Nothing really. I mean, Can-Am's kind of ran away with it. Ronnie was up there for a while and then had a mechanical failure with the new Turbo R, which sucked.
Yep. Was that Ronnie that broke the whole transmission?
Yes.
Okay. So Polaris, you
broke low in reverse, I believe.
Polaris, you don't watch my videos, but I interviewed your race manager. So this is to the race manager. Figure something out, or because does racing matter? That's a different topic. Probably not in the big scheme of things, but you're getting smashed, King of the Hammers. Not even close.
Yes.
Like, you're just getting the floor smashed out of you. Not even close. All that being said, 4900 guys, congratulations. Congratulations to Can-Am. Congratulations to Mr. Paul Wolf, Kyle Chaney, and Cody Miller came in second. Is that correct?
I believe so.
All right, perfect. And congratulations to Hunter Miller, my man. All right, next, let's talk about 4600, because I have strong feelings, and I was going to make a video about this and decided not to. Or excuse me, I was going to make a post about this, and Facebook decided that I shouldn't talk about it because I had the whole thing written out, and then it gave me this error at the bottom, and it deleted my post and didn't save it into drafts. So God was telling me that I should save it for the live stream. How do we feel about the Bronco?
Shouldn't be in the class, in my opinion. I don't know. I mean, it's the rules, but it's a different level rig than what it should be competing against. Unfortunately.
So I felt the same way and was kind of pissed about it. I don't like it. To me, the car that should be running in the 4600 class is a Toyota Tacoma that looks like it's been beat to hell, and it's a raisin that's been spit out by a toddler. That's the car I want to see running 4600 King of the Hammers. But we have these new cars which do qualify and all that good stuff. And I was told that there was some portal system here, which it looks like there's some mild portal system on this video I'm watching. But all in all, you know, everything's upgraded, obviously. But it doesn't feel right. But this video made me feel better about it, if that makes any sense, because it still looks like something you might buy off a showroom floor. Obviously, everything's been replaced, right? All that kind of fun stuff. But if you go in there and you put like cheap stamped metal instead of all these parts here, it looks like it. Okay, is it actually a stock car? No, not at all. Not in the slightest. My question that just kept coming to my head was, what is Bronco, what is Ford gaining from this? Is anyone gonna walk into their Ford dealer? Okay, you or I walk into the Ford dealer and they take us over to the Bronco R that looks really bad, and they take us over there and they say, hey, this car won King of the Hammers, it's great, And that's one of our selling points. I'm going to be like, if you think I'm taking this $65,000 Bronco anywhere near dirt and rocks, you're smoking meth back there in the employee lounge. Okay? Why would you even tell me that? That doesn't matter. And then, okay, somebody who knows what King of the Hammers is. Then I go to someone who has no idea what King of the Hammers is, doesn't care, doesn't race, doesn't off-road. They're going to go to him. This is the Bronco R. It's great. It won King of the Hammers. They're going to look at you and say, what does that mean? That means nothing to me. So my point is, why are they doing this? Other than getting photographs, why is this big push in Ultra 4 from Ford? Because it seems so unauthentic, and I cannot stress this enough. It's not an issue with Miles or anybody that's reporting on it. That's not the problem. It's, everybody, they can say it as convincingly as they want, but the support of these Broncos is so unauthentic, and it just drives me insane, and it makes me feel bad when, I'm not a big feelings guy, okay? But I don't like it when I hear it, and I don't like it when I see it. I didn't like it when I saw it in the 4600 class, and I can't really quantify why. It's a gut thing. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. Because
technically, if you want to be technical, if you want to be a stickler, if you want to be have a stick in your ass, it fits. It is what it is. It fits. It won. It did the right thing. Blah, blah, blah. It just doesn't feel right. And maybe that's a personal issue. Now, let's talk about the Bronco in the 4400 class, because this is another issue I have. And again, Lauren, I have no ill feelings toward Lauren. I had Lauren on the show. Lauren's the best. He's awesome. This has nothing to do with him, nothing to do with Von Gittin or any of the guys who run these things. Okay? Don't care. This is about Ford's weird promotion of this car and Ultra 4's intertwinedness. Why would an announcer ever say that Bronco is doing great? That Bronco on the track, all this other stuff. It doesn't make sense to me. Okay, Jerry, you reminded me of a good point I have. Jerry chimed in on Facebook and said, they are doing that. I agree, but car companies have been in the race market to sell cars and trucks for decades. I agree. Easy, 100% agree. But let's look at NASCAR, where for the longest time, the shell of a NASCAR, body was like a Chevy, Impala or a Chevy Cruze, right? Am I wrong, Dustin?
No, you're good. You're right.
Not one guy in any right mind would refer to it. Yeah, man, look at that Chevy Impala doing an overtake around the third turn. No, that's not. It's not. What are you doing to me? What are you trying to persuade me of? I didn't like it when it was like, there goes the Bronco through the rocks. No, it's not a Bronco. It's this Triton Engineering $500,000, it's a Triton car. It's an Ultra 4 car. It's a buggy. I just felt it I said, feels bad. And I might be the only one that feels that way or cares about it, but it just seems so kind of lame, What do you think? What are your thoughts on the Bronco stuff? And feel free to disagree with me.
I don't necessarily agree with you. It's just I understand, Ford's spending a crazy amount of money, no doubt.
Yeah.
Are they getting their return? I don't know. They're trying to push the Bronco, but how are you pushing this as the Bronco, right?
Mm-hmm. That's my point, right?
Yeah, that's what I get where you're coming from. It's weird, but I don't know.
And it might be because we have knowledge of what this actually is. Maybe the everyday person looks at this and goes, man, I can't believe they, took out the front suspension on a Bronco and put that in, right? Maybe that's maybe that's it. And maybe I'm just being cynical and being an ass. Maybe. But also, this is one of the most advanced cars ever built. Ever. Not a Bronco.
Yep. It's very impressive.
But I get it, and I know I got all wound up there and was talking about it, but it just feels unauthentic, and that's something I don't like. And I think people should know if something feels unauthentic. I don't think it, like I said, it's not the announcer's fault. It's not the commentary. It's not anything like that. It's they're doing what they're told, right? It just feels weird. I'm not a huge fan. But again, maybe it's just me. Okay, other than that, 4400 class, craziest race I've seen in a minute, dude.
Yeah, boys are moving.
Dude, You watch the UTV stuff and you're like, holy crap, these guys are fast. And then you see the 4400 class and the rocks. You see the 4400 class in the straightaways, and you're like, damn, they're fast. Like, that is some speed right there. So really cool stuff. Obviously, super cool picture here. I believe that this is Cody Miller's car because Hunter is number 90, and they've got the Texplex on there. I could be wrong on that one. It could be Kyle Chaney. I'm not 100%. I don't think it's Kyle Chaney, though. Taken off the line with Big B. Super cool, man. Super, super cool. And Jerry, one more comment. Jerry said, did anyone buy a Lumina thinking they were getting a NASCAR? No, but they're trying to convince you that you're buying a Bronco and you're getting what you see on TV with Lauren Healy taking it around the track. That's where I think the unauthentic side of this comes through. They're trying to tell you that this is a completely stock machine. I've heard it. I know it. That feels bad. Okay, 4400. Does that make sense? I mean, I know I'm like kind of complaining, but I'm not really complaining. I'm just kind of chatting, just getting a little fired up, son. Getting a little
Are you getting fired
up, son? I like it. UFO cars to take the win. Raul Gomez, congratulations, my man. I know that the Gomez brothers have been fighting for a long time. Incredible race. I mean, incredible. Brian Caprera, like, I'm watching him in the 4800 class was one of the craziest things. He was in 4800. Oh, I hope I didn't get that wrong. I'm pretty sure. But watching Brian Crofts qualify, that was insane because UTVs had been sitting on the pole all day long, and here comes Crofts in his Shannon Campbell car, just blows the brakes off everything. Amazing. Really, really cool. What else happened? I feel like so much happened so fast. I told my wife this is the first time I've seen this race where, like, boom, 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 all this crazy stuff's happening.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of different highlights.
It's hard to remember everything.
It really is. Whenever Shear jumped out of his car, and I thought he was gonna break his back on the ground.
Yeah, he's tough.
He's doing all right.
Yeah, I did not. It's funny. I had looked away, so I didn't get to actually see it. But yeah, man, that was hard to watch when I went back and looked at it. It was really good sportsmanship and extremely painful. Like, just watching Jason lead all day, and then seeing Raul, like, they had the winch line out covering the whole trail, and then Jason was like, you know what, like, just let him pass. And then Raul comes and passes him through the rocks. It was rough to watch Jason flip over right there towards the end. I think it was crazy that they let backdoor be optional. That was, to me, again, not complaining. I'm just saying, like, I think it was crazy because we saw people take backdoor and we saw people go around, and we saw that the bypass was, like, should have just been the trail, No one should have even considered the back door. But I do applaud them for trying it because you don't know till you try type of thing. But it was cool. Back door should be part of the course. I know it's a bottleneck, but it should be. Lots of complaints about the VCPs this year. I didn't realize that the racers don't know where the VCPs are. Interesting.
Yeah, they're basically told 40 foot on each side of the trail, basically.
Yeah, which I get it. Like, it kind of keep you're not gonna squirrel off where one isn't or anything like that. But yeah, maybe. I've seen a lot of guys complain that they didn't know exactly how far to go on some places. So interesting. Sure. We should probably talk about the wreck. What do you think?
We can.
So
that was a tough one to watch.
Jerry says, got a dip. Thanks for live feed. I need to catch up on your beam videos. See you later, buddy. Thanks for hanging out with us. Fishgistics. I keep spelling it wrong, but man, Facebook is so smart. All right, so we're just going to watch this one time, and then we'll talk about it very briefly. And I'll leave it alone. JP Gomez. Bam.
He was running, 90?
75. 75. When he hit him, he was only doing about 50. Okay, so look, right here, he's already slowing down. I know you're behind on the stream.
Just a little bit.
He's slowing down immediately when he sees him. I don't think it's worth having the conversation for, like, who's right and wrong at this point, because who really gives a crap now? This is scary, Like the thing
reality check is what
well,
it is.
the thing that I saw that concerned me the most was on the Talent Tank Insiders. Wyatt had posed the question, what if it was a UTV? What do you think about that?
UTV's a lot lighter, probably half the weight what that car was.
Half the height?
At least. Yeah, half the height, yeah. I mean, some of the new UTVs are not the average you take it, but it probably would have punted that UTV, for sure. Take Pan Am, for example. It would have punted it a lot farther. Would have sent the other people for probably quite a ride. But people talking about that being a reason to boot the UTVs out of the 4400 class seems a bit much to me.
I don't know if the answer is to boot them out, or I don't know if the answer is to boot them out, and I don't have another answer because I haven't put a ton of thought into it, so I'm not really going to speak on it. All I'm going to say is these UTV guys are wild for being in this situation. That's all That's all I'll say about it. Now, I did want to highlight this too because I'm not sure if everybody had seen it. Raul reached out on Instagram to Stearns Off-Road Racing, the guy that got hit. He said, hey, shoot me a DM with your info. We have a bunch of spare stuff and can help you guys fix your race car. Glad you're okay. Stearns replied, glad JP is okay too. Tell him and your pit guys, sorry for being an ass when we were leaving the pit. That's not how I want people to know me. Congratulations on the big W. Blah, 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 blah. Tell your brother I tried to give him room, and I know he was coming for you. Hope you guys continue to keep changing the sport. Okay, first off, the guy that got hit, super, like, he'd mentioned early on, like, racing is racing type of thing. He kind of took his own responsibility for it. I think there was still, like, a lot of ambiguity because we hadn't heard anything from, like, the Gomez team. But this right here, I like this. This is good.
Yep.
Yeah, this is
good.
This is what you want to see. Thank God everybody was okay, but this is what you want to see. So my hat, here you go. My hat is tipped to the Gomez brothers. You guys did this is good, and everyone. I had a really strong feeling like everybody knew that was coming. That they were gonna do what they, anything they could to help out the situation. But good for you, sir. Appreciate that, and it's cool. All right, that's all I got for King of the Hammers. Let's see if the other guy jumped in here.
I have one question about King of the Hammers. Yeah. Do you think Healy launching off the wall broke his car?
Ooh, what did he end up breaking? Did he say it was electronic? He just made a post about it.
It was a throttle body that stopped him in the desert, but what took him out of the race was something driveline related, and they haven't said what it was.
Ooh.
I've read that some people said it was a portal, some kind of wheel bearing failure, unit bearing deal. I don't know. They haven't really talked about it.
Can we talk about the funniest moment in the race? This is literally the funniest thing I've seen in a race and probably ever.
Does it involve a line full of Broncos?
No. I don't want to talk about that because that feeds it. Listen, if you guys really want to hear me complain about this dang Broncos situation, actually, I'm doing it.
Somebody has to pay the bills, okay? And Ford was getting their money's worth.
Look, let me explain something to you. I'm doing it. This pissed me off. I don't know about you guys. But like, it doesn't piss me off, right? We're having fun. This is all stuff we care about, all this kind of fun stuff. Here it is. All right, Proving Ground Racing's John Grounds, a super good dude. I have followed him since he was running the Rock Crawler car. Cool dude, good dude. I'm gonna keep the sound on for this one too, so I'll talk after it's over. Thoughts?
Messed up. I don't know why they had to do that right then. Maybe they thought they were clear. But unfortunate situation. And luckily nobody got hit.
So I feel like someone should have got hit, but that would have just only really harmed John. I want to point something out. You see this guy?
Yeah, it's a little bit delayed.
I know it. So look at this guy, and He just got his phone out the window. He's just hanging out,
Yeah.
having a good time. He's like, hey, holy shit, that car's right next to me.
VIP experience.
Yeah, dude. What? Like, I know obviously you're not driving, you're not the one making the decisions, but like, how do you think that guy feels after the fact when he's like, oh snap? And something else too is that this Bronco that's in the very back of the line that we see, it like tries to keep going, and then they have this weird standoff stalemate, bro.
For sure.
Oh, I have no cards, no stake in the game, but it's just like, what is going on? You're going the wrong way in hot pits. Again, the Bronco thing. It feels so unauthentic, but I'm going to stop talking about it. It just feels bad. And stuff like this makes it feel even better. This is great. This is actually what I want in racing. I want to see how many people we can get on the track to go the wrong way. Like, I think halfway through the race, if you're in the back half, you should turn around and run the race the other way. Or do you think Ultra 4 will let me submit that idea?
It'd be interesting. Why don't you put that in Talent Tank?
Yeah, I'll do that. And then once they pass each other on the track, the top 10 UTVs and 4,600 Broncos, they have to go. They basically roll the dice if they're going to go the other way, like left or right. And I think it's good. It's entertainment. It's promotion. I think it's great. This is what we want. I want major accidents. I want. Hello, Katy Perry. I want bad things to happen in racing. This is the good. This is good. These are good things, right? It's great. Geniuses. Okay, funny stuff. All right, so on screen you have this like a little, solid axle car running through the desert. And here comes Lauren Healy with what appears to be, holy shoot. I didn't notice this. So at second 2 of the video, you can see him step on the gas and hit a rut at the same time. And the roost he throws is like forever high. Boom. Huge roost.
I was watching this live and I was just laughing.
It's comical.
Laughing so hard.
It is 100% comical.
Because they're following this guy and then just all of a sudden, oh.
It's like a video. It's like a movie where, the car with one wheel is somehow going 80 miles an hour and like flies into the frame and then goes out the other side. That was the funniest.
Almost like Beam.
Yeah, 100%. It's like me driving and Cole Payne driving. Cole Payne just blows past me at 3,000 miles an hour, and we're not even playing the same game. Okay, so that's what it comes down to. All right,
That's what it is.
Yeah, I'm out on King of the Hammers. Good stuff. Good race. All the fun stuff is fun to talk about. Who gives a crap about any of that stuff? Get the Broncos off the race course. All right, next. Tyrant. Do we want to talk about Tyrant? Our Tyrant guy is late to the party. So let's see what he has to say for himself.
I don't think he's coming with us.
Oh, he said something came up. All right, well, that's fine.
I think he said
he probably heard me talking about the Bronco, and he didn't want to lose his sponsorship either.
It's a ratty machine.
Yep. So we're gonna just do a quick look here.
Do you have the video that he posted on Facebook?
The one with CT Fletcher quotes. Hate.
Yes, that was a great video.
Yeah, that was a good one. Something's going on with my internet. There we go. All right, so we're just gonna watch this and then we'll close out the stream here. Keep it simple, keep it tight. Damn it. Mad Ram. Get this crap off the screen. It's so smooth. It's unbelievably smooth.
Yeah. That's a wild hit right there.
It's crazy to me how like you can see the rear axle bounce like when it hits the ground, like there's a little bit of flutter in it, but it is just like once it sits down, it's like glue.
Oh.
Like that right there. Whew, son.
Yeah, I'm delayed, so.
I don't know. It's okay. Man. So everybody else who's in rock bouncing, what do you guys think? Because, anybody can have a bad day, but this thing right here is pretty mean, dude.
Yeah, not gonna have many bad days.
Yeah, there's I think it's one of these videos where he like
Pretty rowdy.
he hits this thing at like 30 and it just doesn't even touch the ground. It just like it's like tiptoes across these. Yeah, it's right here. Like it gets launched, and it's so funny the way he built this machine. It doesn't look like the rear end has much travel. Am I making that up, or is it just how it looks? Not much travel. It has huge travel, but like less than normal. Or is it just an optical illusion because he's actually got like frame a little bit lower?
Well, some of it is he's got a 60-inch trailing arm sitting off the rear end, you know? So you don't need a whole lot of travel to get that thing to leverage like crazy.
That's true too.
That makes sense.
I didn't realize it was so big.
So the trailing arms on our buggy are probably half the length of those.
Yeah. I wonder if we'll see that be an issue. I know Brannick made them, but, you know, he's never snapped one of the Brannick arms, right?
Nice, snapped one last year.
Okay, that's what I thought. I was like, I think he has actually. We'll see, because obviously 60 is that's big. That's a big arm, dude. And, you know, as rock racing takes a turn and doesn't rock race anymore and does a lot more of the short course stuff, maybe it'll balance, you know?
Yep.
And what I love to see is that like they're like people are recognizing that the courses are just different and they're just building their cars different. It's been a slower progression, but like I think this is like if they threw in like an old school gas pedal at AOP or something, you know, crazy like that, or like, you know, one of the, I don't even know, because hang on, I can try to sound a little bit. So I would say like any of the old ones, but all these new cars would just chop up the old stuff. But if they threw something in with gigantic boulders, I feel like, you know.
Oh yeah, it'd be tough on a car like that for sure.
Yeah, I mean like it's.
Talk about a 17, 18-inch ground clearance with. Now he's got leading arms and trailing arms.
Man, it's so good.
I can tell you from personal experience, aluminum trailing arms on rock are not the way to go. But
like I said, it'll be interesting because these aren't just, you know, aluminum trailing arms. These are big boys.
Yeah, completely flat on the bottom, like a boat anchor basically. As soon as it hits a rock.
Dang, it looks good though. That's for sure.
It's amazing that he does all this himself.
Yeah, that's pretty amazing, man. Tim is such a talented guy, and
Yep.
you know, Tim has a lot of haters. Tim's got it's always easy to hate the guy that's the best, and like I say that, and then everybody who hates him is like, oh, that's not why I hate him. And I'm like, I mean, you can find a reason to not like somebody, you know. I think I've met Tim on multiple occasions. One of the nicest guys ever, you know, just and so quietly confident too, which is the best part, you know. That's
very humble.
Yes, that's the right word, is humble. And I like it, dude. I love the rear end setup he's got going, man. That's absolutely crazy. I really like the dual tie rod system he's got going.
He's ran that for a while now.
Yeah, it's been a while since I've like took a hard look at it. It's really, really cool. Is he running a pinion brake? No, not a pinion brake, but like a brake on the transfer case in the rear.
So what they always, that's what he doesn't run brakes at the axles now.
Wow.
Some just pinion brake. It's like, I mean, it's one of the best. It's not very safe, obviously. I'm surprised they still let him run it. The whole pinion brake thing on the transfer case, because Cash is a perfect example of that.
Now
the video of him from Hollywood, that could have been.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Did it now? What was the issue in terms of like what broke and what caused him to not have brakes? I mean, obviously, if something breaks in that vicinity, it's you don't have brakes. But what broke?
Yeah. So basically, the driveline brake is mounted to, say, like the transfer case. And it's basically stopping the driveline instead of the wheels and tires. If that makes sense. So your braking power is a lot greater. But if that doesn't, if something goes wrong there, you have no source of stopping.
So like a
U-joint situation, I believe the transfer case exploded.
Oh man.
Can you hear me? Okay?
Yeah, I got you. I didn't even think about that, man. Yeah, it was breaking up just a little bit, but we got you. Yeah, I didn't think about the transfer.
Yeah, so like years ago, you can see videos of like Danny Smith, he used to fight some serious drive shaft issues in that Warfare buggy years ago. And if he broke a rear drive shaft, all he would have is front wheel drive to stop him.
Right. Yep, I was thinking about a break a break on the pinion yoke or on the pinion of the axle. That would do it, and I hadn't thought about the actual transfer case just blowing up and having no gears in there, you know?
Yeah. So around that area, there's a couple different setups. I don't know the best about them, but a lot of them are like a double rotor style. Like, it's wild looking at because a lot of the times it's right next to the drivers in these buggies. Oh, there's a good view of it right there.
Man.